Welcome to day 25 of the HTML and CSS in Action series. Today we're creating a beautiful, fully functional, multi-step form. No JavaScript needed. We'll focus on styling the layout, progress steps, and buttons that guide users smoothly through each section. Let's start by setting up our HTML document. We include the usual documento HTML, HTML lang equals en, the head with meta tags, title, and a link to our CSS file. Inside the body, we create a main div with the class container. This will hold everything for our step form. We add an h1 that says multi-step form and a short paragraph tag with the class subtitle that tells viewers this works with no JavaScript, just HTML and CSS. Next, we build the progress indicator. We wrap 3 steps inside a div with the class steps. Each step is its own div containing a span for the number and a paragraph for the label. Account, profile, and confirm. These will help users see where they are in the process. Below that, we add 3 radio inputs. Step 1, Step 2, and Step 3, all sharing the same name, step. The first one is checked by default. These radios will control which section of the form is visible, giving the illusion of switching steps entirely through CSS. Then we create the form with the class form. Inside, we'll have 3 different divs, each representing one step of the process: account creation, profile details, and confirmation. For step 1, inside.form step.step1, we include a heading that says create account and 3 input fields, one for username, one for email, and one for password. At the bottom, we add a label with 4 equals step 2 and the class next button. Clicking it will activate step 2 via the radio button. No JavaScript required. In step 2, we create another heading called Profile Info and add 3 text inputs for full name, city, and country. Below the inputs, we place 2 labels acting as buttons, one with 4 equals step 1 to go back, and another with 4 step 3 to move forward to the final step. The third section is our confirmation page. It has a heading, confirm details, and a paragraph reminding users to verify their information. We include a summary div listing sample details like username, email, and location. Finally, we add 2 buttons, one label for back and a button type equals submit, with the class submitBTN for submitting the form. And that completes our HTML structure for this multi-step form. Next, we'll bring it to life with styling, gradients, and smooth transitions, all in pure CSS. Let's start with the body. We're using the Poppins font for a modern look, then setting a gradient background from deep navy to slate blue. The body is displayed as flex, centered both vertically and horizontally with light text and generous padding. This creates a calm, balanced canvas for the entire form. Next, we style the dot container. It has a soft, translucent background using RGBA and a backdrop filter blur for that glass-morphic feel. Rounded corners, subtle shadows, and centered text keep the design clean and readable on any screen. The main heading is colored teal, slightly larger, and spaced from the subtitle. The smaller gray subtitle adds contrast and describes what this form does. For the steps class, I'm using Flex Display to place all the step indicators in a single row. Justify content space between spreads them evenly across the container, and a margin bottom of 30 pixels adds some breathing room before the form starts below. For each step, we stack the number and label vertically using Flex Direction column. Center everything neatly and set a soft gray color to keep the design subtle and clean. For the dot step span, this is where we design each circular step number. We're using display flex with both align items and justify content set to center. That keeps the number perfectly aligned in the middle of the circle. The circle itself is 36 by 36 pixels with a teal border and matching text color to highlight the active theme. The dark background adds contrast, and a small margin at the bottom separates the number from the label below, giving the progress indicator a clean and professional look. For the step not: last child: after, we're using a pseudo element to draw a thin line that connects each step in the progress bar. The selector applies this only to steps that aren't the last one, so no extra line appears at the end. We position it absolutely, set the width to 100 pixels and height to 2 pixels, and give it a subtle gray-blue color that matches our theme. Finally, by placing it around 18 pixels from the top and 50 pixels from the left, the line aligns neatly between the step circles. For the form section, we set its position to relative so inner elements can be positioned precisely. Each dot form step is hidden by default, and when it appears, the fade-in animation creates a smooth transition between steps. For our radio inputs, we set display none to hide them from the page. Users won't see the actual radio buttons, but they'll still control which form step is active. Each radio input corresponds to one form section. When the first input is checked, step 1 becomes visible. When the second or third is checked, those sections appear instead. This clever use of the checked selector and the general sibling combinator tilde allows us to switch between steps, all with pure HTML and CSS, no JavaScript required. For our input fields, we make sure they stretch the full width of the container using width 100% and add comfortable padding for easy typing. Each input has a 10-pixel vertical margin to create space between fields, no border for a clean modern look, and rounded corners for a softer design. The background is a deep navy color with white text for contrast, and by removing the outline, the inputs blend seamlessly into the dark, elegant form layout. For our buttons, we're giving them a smooth, teal gradient background, rounded corners, and bold white text. They sit neatly in line with padding for balance and include a quick transition for a polished hover effect. When a user hovers over any of the buttons, we add a smooth scaling effect with Transform Scale 1.05 and slightly lower the opacity to make the interaction feel alive. The previous button stands out with a transparent background and a teal border, giving it a subtle contrast from the main buttons, while keeping everything consistent with our color theme. The summary box uses a soft, transparent background with rounded corners and padding, keeping the details neatly spaced and easy to read with a calm, gray text tone. The fade-in animation brings each form step smoothly into view, while the media query ensures everything stays readable on smaller screens by stacking steps vertically and removing the connecting lines. And that wraps up day 25 of the HTML and CSS in Action series. Today, we built a fully functional multi-step form using only HTML and CSS, no JavaScript at all. You learned how to create smooth transitions between sections, stylish buttons, and a clean progress indicator. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like, save, and follow for more daily HTML and CSS projects